for another tier list. This one is going to be, I guess, like sci-fi, fantasy, random stuff. So, all right, let's go ahead and start off with the king himself, Brandon Sanderson. So, Mistborn. This is the first Brandon Sanderson novel that I read. To be fair, I listened to it, as I've mentioned many times. I'm a bit of a slow reader, so I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and I think I am actually becoming a faster reader, so, you know, something to be said there. All right, Mistborn. I absolutely loved it. Definitely made me think. I love a good magic system where it's not heavily front loaded, it's not all this slog of getting the rules and everything, but like as each layer is built on the last one, you're like, well, obviously, of course that would happen. Of course, that's how this type of magic would work. And I think that Brandon Sanderson is just such a master at that, both at crafting these elaborate worlds and magic systems, but also in how to give that, deliver it to the audience in a manageable dose, right? So that you understand incrementally only what you need to know, and then it just builds and it makes sense. And that's just beautiful. I love it. I don't know that I'd say it's part of my personality. I'm not quite that into the Cosmere yet, but we'll see. We'll see. I definitely love it. I value it, highly respect it. Let's go on to another literary giant, Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. Now, I actually got to meet Orson Scott Card at LTUE this year, so that was exciting. I do have to say, my brother's a huge Ender's Game fan. I'm positive he read all of the books. I have read two of the books. I I enjoyed Ender's Game. It definitely made me think. It was really interesting. I enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna leave it here. I I appreciate Ender's Game, and Orson Scott Card is a very talented writer. In fact, I have more Orson Scott Card coming right up. How about the other Ender's Game book that I read, Speaker for the Dead? Um, I so this book, oh dear, I kind of want to put it in I didn't love it because I'm sorry, if you know, you know, it freaked me out. It's really intense. It's kind of gross. I also heard that Orson Scott Card said he only wrote Ender's Game in order to write Speaker for the Dead. And as much as it really stressed me out. Like I felt physically ill from some of the stuff that happened in this book, and I know I'm just a wimp and I'm very sensitive, and that's fine. But that's how I am. I didn't appreciate some of the stuff that happened in this book. But you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and put it here, and it made me think. Not that I necessarily loved the book, but I appreciate what the book was trying to do, and it did it very well. It was really thought provoking, right? Seeing different cultures and what's acceptable for one culture that is horrific for another culture, and it's a really interesting book. Like I said, I don't super love this book, but I I like Orson Scott Card. He's a really cool guy, and I appreciate thinking deeper, even if I don't like what I'm thinking about. All right, so another final Orson Scott Card one. This is a duology, Lost and Found. The sequel is called Duplex, and I quite enjoyed this one. I don't know if I'd say I loved it. I thought it was fascinating. I definitely had a lot to think about with this one. It was just so interesting because these different people have these, I think they called them micro abilities, micro powers or something. I don't remember for sure. But anyway, instead of superpowers that are like, oh, he has amazing strength or he can fly, there's like a guy who can tell exactly how many spiders are around you and where they are. Or there's someone who can like tell if you're an innie or an outie belly button. Like these these are such bizarre powers vampires. And it definitely made me think. I'm gonna put, oh, I thought it was really creative. I enjoyed it a lot. Oh, I don't know where to put it. I'm gonna put it in enjoyed. I really liked this one. I thought it was so fun. It's much more lighthearted, I believe, than Ender's Game. I don't know if I can handle the darker Orson Scott card, but I thought this was so delightful, so interesting. I believe it gets a little more intense in the sequel book. There's like, unless I'm blending that with another book, I can't remember. It's been a while since I've read this one, but very much enjoyed. All right, next up we have Uglies. I not sure where to put this one. I feel like I think I'm going to put it in enjoyed. I I love dystopian novels. I think the concept is really good. It definitely, it made me think about, what it means to be pretty and would you want to live in a society where being pretty is all that matters, right? And so I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was well done. Nothing against it. Like me putting it in love versus enjoyed isn't that big of a deal. I quite enjoyed the series. Very fun. All right, let's do Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Oh dear. Of course, you know that Harry Potter is part of my personality. I read this book. I think this was the first book I read after giving birth to my son. So like it is important to me in a sense. It will always be that first book that I read when I came home after having my son. But I'll be honest, as a Harry Potter fan, I didn't love The Cursed Child. I did get to see the play live with my son, and that was a really fun experience. I feel like watching it is definitely different from reading it, and once you've already accepted the things that have been put into print, then it's easier to take. All right, moving right along. Let's do Midnight Sun. So this is Twilight, if you're not familiar. This is Twilight but from the perspective of Edward. And this was hilarious. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm not a fan of Twilight particularly. I read the first book and I read a few chapters of the second book, but I don't do vampires. I don't. Um, I thought this was really funny, but so I enjoyed it because it was hilarious. When Edward's like, "Oh, I love her, but also I want to eat her." That's hilarious. I loved it. Um, but I don't love Twilight. I'm sorry, but it was enjoyable. This was more entertaining than the original Twilight because, oh man, Edward's thoughts. I'm sorry, it doesn't make it better. I'm sorry. If you love Twilight, nothing against you. You can love what you love. I have plenty of guilty pleasures. All right, The Alchemist. The Alchemist. I thought this was really fascinating. I am going to put this. Oh, it made me think. It made me think. I did really enjoy it. I'm going to leave it in. It made me think. This one, I feel like it's not quite in the vein of Phantom Tollbooth. Phantom Tollbooth is a lot more whimsical, but it's the same kind of. I feel like there's this whole genre of book where there's a character who just goes out on these, little journeys, right? It's just a little journey quest, and then they come back home and they realize what they needed the whole time, right? So this is one of those books where he goes on a journey, he meets people, he learns things, and then he goes back home. And I love these books. They're really fun. They're, simple but philosophical. Ugh, love it. So those are going to be my epic sci-fi fantasy books for today. Have a great day. Talk to you next time.